So what we're doing here is we're going to be making a zebra cake, a zebra stripe cake. So we've got a black board here. Normally we use silver boards, but this black board sort of sets the cake off quite nicely. So we've got our white ice cake, and we've got some black rolled out pieces of fondant. And what we're doing is we're cutting out little strips of black fondant, like so. Random shapes, just long thin strips, and some a little bit shorter. Just wave the knife to create your shapes. Then you can pop them out. Just cut out some to begin with, and then as you begin to add them to the cake, you can fill them in with additional pieces that are cut to size. Some need to be longer than others, and you'll see why in a moment. And you don't need to worry about being too precise here, you're just creating some random shapes. And then what we're going to start doing in a moment is we'll start layering those onto the cake. And so we start just by layering on without water, just so you can see the effect. And we're going to keep them all going roughly the same direction, like so, and then just filling in little gaps in between, like so. And you'll see that once we get a few more on, you'll see the effect that we're getting. And so we'll carry on doing that all the way around the cake. I'm going to start now with sticking these on. So I take one off at a time, add a little bit of water to the back, and sticking these in place. Like so. Carefully lifting each piece. Once you've got the basics started, you can just do it your own way. Okay, and then we'll just carry on adding more pieces going around the cake. Continue just adding more shapes in as we go around. Getting these roughly as we want them, getting them to look right. And then we can add our water either to the fondant or to the cake. like so. And then what we're going to do once we've got all these on is we're going to put a border around using these little white and black fondant balls. So they'll go around the bottom of the cake like so. Create a nice effect around the outside, and we'll add a message around the edge of the board as well. Just over to my left there, Daniel's cutting out lettering, which is what's going to go on the board. And when you get round to the sides, you want to try and keep the same sort of direction. So that's what we're doing here. We're just adding these in, keeping the same sort of flow. You can always cut them roughly and then just bend them into a shape that you want them as well, like so. And a few long ones in. As you can see, it's actually not too difficult a cake to do. It's quite straightforward. Okay, so I'm going to finish that off on the stripes off, and so I just want to re-roll this fondant and roll it out again so that we can get some more stripes from it. So we've re-rolled some fondant here. We're just going to carry on with our stripes. You can use a marzipan knife or a normal kitchen knife if you want to cut with, but you get a cleaner edge by using one of the cake scalpels that I've got here, for example. It just gives a better finish to the edge of the fondant. And you'll see what I've started doing around the other side is with little offcuts, just sticking them in just to fill in little gaps and stuff like that. So we'll see that in a moment once we've added a few more stripes in. I'll cut that edge off there, it's a bit thin. Just move in a little bit. And now that we've got a lot of the bigger pieces in, we're on to the smaller pieces of fondant, as you can see. Okay. So as you can see, it's all beginning to fill out now quite nicely. That bit's probably a little bit too thin. Just cut another one there. Okay, so we're at the point where we're just filling in now, I think. We'll just go with slightly smaller pieces. So I'm just going to cut a load of those out quickly, and then we'll just stick them to the cake where we think it looks like it needs something. Still going to be the odd longer bit that we might need. I've got a few longer bits out as well. Let me stick these few on. Probably need something little there. Okay. Just put a long skinny bit up here, I think. Perhaps the same in here. And we're almost there. Add a few little tiny bits in, and that'll be it for the stripes, I think. Okay. I think we're pretty much there now. One or two more there. Okay, that's it. That's that part of the cake done. And now what we can do is with our balls, our fondant balls, we're just going to wet around the outside of the cake, around the board. And we're going to alternate colours going around the outside. You need to make sure you've got enough water on the board and on the cake for these to stick. I've done some other tutorials showing how to create these balls. It's pretty straightforward, you just roll them in your hand to create the balls. Just tiny little bits of fondant. Obviously you could just use a ribbon. So I'll carry on going around the cake and I'll show you at the end what it looks like. So as you can see, we've got all our balls on now, and that literally took no more than 2 to 3 minutes to go around the outside. What we've got here is some lettering that we've cut out, and to add this to the board, obviously it sort of depends where you want the centre of the cake to be. You just pick the side that you want to be the front. Doesn't matter too much. We'll just go with here, and then we'll just put some water around the edge to give the lettering something to stick to. With some cakes you have to get the lettering dead central, but for this cake it's not as important, so we'll just start anywhere. You just need enough water just to get the fondant to stick, and eventually it will dry and stick in place. And there is other things you could do. You could do, you know, a bit of banner on top or something if you wanted to. This is a different sort of style of lettering. We've just gone with some cut out letters. Obviously with some names it's quite important you get the spelling right, so double check that. Right, just for the 2 dots I'm just going to make sure I've got enough water there, otherwise they'll be rolling off the board. And we'll just drop those into place, like so. And there we have our zebra stripe cake with our fondant ball border.